Yeah. Wait, should we record this? Because I saw this on my feed and I was going to leave a comment and I saw your comment on it. And then I
Yeah.
didn't even end up leaving my comment.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay.
Okay. When you start your business, no one ever prepares you for what's in store. So finding someone else who just gets it is sometimes the thing that can keep you pushing towards those big vision board business goals.
We're turning our Zoom coffee chats into a weekly, unfiltered podcast for online business owners. There were so many good ones, we always wanted to record them and repurpose them for content, anyways. And that's on being a social media manager.
I'm Jessica Sheehy.
And I'm Madeline Daigan. And this is
hashtag
managed. I think it's perfect.
I like it. I like it.
Happy New Year's, friends, and welcome back to Hashtag Managed. These last couple of episodes, we may or may not have been hinting at something for this new year. We won't tell you what it is right now, but I think in the upcoming weeks you'll realize what we were hinting at all along.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we're Swifties or anything.
Yeah, not that these are Easter eggs or
No,
anything.
wink, wink. But we're starting off this new year with a really fun and short episode. And we're going to cut to the chase and just get into our 2025 predictions.
Yeah, let's get into them. Okay, so we have a few.
Yeah.
So I feel like way more than we've had for the
Yeah.
2024 one. So we're already off to a good start in the new year. Maddie, do you want to kick us off with yours and we can kind of go back and forth?
Yes. So my number one, or our first prediction, is that there's going to be more in-person events, which I believe we not only hinted at, but talked about that we personally are aiming for in 2025. But I truly believe that community is going to be used as social proof in the new year.
Yeah, I really think like there's a few select businesses who do really great at in-person events pretty regularly. Like, I think the first that can kind of come to mind is like wellness and gyms and like fitness studios, because I feel like they're always doing either like intro offers or like community mixers, or like if it's a yoga studio, they're doing like a beach yoga session, or they're going off-site somewhere to do a session. And I think it's just a really great way to like bring in people together. And obviously that's a business that people come together anyway, but I mean oftentimes you're just in your motion of going to your class and you have your routine, you have your specific locker you put your things in, or your cubby, and then you fill up your water, you do the class, at the end you're toweling off because you're so sweaty, but then you leave because you're running off to a meeting or you're running off to your work day. And I think it's a good way to like really add a community aspect, and I think any company can do it. Like if you have a brick and mortar or not, because if not, you can collaborate with a business who has a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
And I think that collaboration aspect is a big piece of it too.
Okay, wait, I want to add one thing. This was not on my list, but hearing you say all this, you made me think of something else that I thought of that goes with this same prediction, and that is that I do think smaller businesses and brands are going to be taking a page from the Tarte brand playbook. So like where the smaller companies are realizing people love these brand trips and that they can do it themselves, just their own version of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. Yeah. Because I think that like branded experiences for your customers or clients over influencers, like your customers and your clients are your best influencers, guys, because word of mouth marketing beats anything that that we could do digitally. And so I think doing brand trips, doing brand experiences, doing like putting together like collaborating with a lot of other businesses to put something on is so important. Because think about it, like these are all things that you as a business owner, you as the marketer for that business, you're like, how do I bring my community together? How do I emphasize more on like showing them as like the influencers? How do I collaborate? Like, if you're thinking this, other businesses are thinking this, and they are. And so just reaching out and pitching an idea of, hey, I have this idea. Are you guys down to donate product? Are you down to donate your studio for this? Or, to co-sponsor this event? Like, I guarantee like a 90% of the time, maybe 95%, you'll get a yes.
Yeah.
How do we make this happen? Like, this is what we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm glad you added that too,
Yeah.
because I think that's a really good point for 2025. Another thing is, I think leaning into, I'm going to use a word that I think is so overused in marketing, authenticity. I think it's so overused. We have to stop using it in 2025. But leaning more into your raw founder content, or your client who you're creating content for, like their founder story, so important, because people, like we talked about, they're craving community, but they're craving connection, and they want to know the person behind the business. Even if your client or you as a business owner, you think, I'm not that interesting, I don't have anything to add, like, you do. Like, you have so much to add to why you started your business. Like, a lot of times if you create a product, it's because you had a need, or you had a story or something like inspiring, which I think is really important. You saw a problem, you fix that problem. Like, this is all very simple stuff, but I think leaning into that raw founder content, and honestly kicking out the perfectionism, like this needs to be
Amen.
perfect, this
Amen.
like, no, let's keep it raw, and like, let's keep it real. That's so cliche of me to say, but that's what I'm adding it as a prediction for 2025.
Yes. Adding on to that, my next prediction is cinematic content. And so while yes, the raw content, we want that, but obviously there are so many content creators out there right now, and I will say that 2025, it is time to step up, like the insert Kim Kardashian sound of like, it's time to work, or whatever she said.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to set yourself apart? Like, maybe one of your goals is, that is one of our goals, is to up level our video content, and 2025, I think, is just the year of how are you going to up level your own content, and maybe investing in a videographer for a brand photo shoot, bringing that type of content. But there's also a lot of apps out there.
Yes.
And like, maybe that's a skill you're learning, is something you set for yourself, or maybe this was the sign that you needed, that it's time to step up your game.
Yeah.
And we're here for you.
Can I piggyback off of that?
Yeah.
Because I think one thing that so many people talk about in 2024, I really don't agree with it. And like many things on this podcast, but so many content creators, Instagram gurus say, hey, 30 minutes out of your day, take your phone, go film this, film this, create and batch and have so much content on your phone that you don't know what to do with it. I think that quantity issue is an issue. Like,
Yes.
we always say quality over quantity, of course, over anything. But when it comes to content creation, you are going to see much better results if you work with a videographer. And again, videographer, I know that's like a very scary term, because you're thinking, okay, full on Hollywood movie production set. Like, no, yes, do they do that? Do they offer those services? Of course. But there are videographers who shoot on their DSLR cameras, and that is great video content that you're going to receive. There's photographers now who do video add-ons, which I think is becoming more and more prevalent in that industry, and it's a great way for you to get this content. But I think more importantly, the cinematic content that Maddie was talking about is the more like storytelling.
Yeah.
Like, how do you go deeper with your audience and share something, over a silly little 20-second clip that someone told you to record because you're going to go viral and this is the reel you need to make this week. I know that's such a bold statement, but I think that that does nothing for your audience because, again, if an Instagram guru with 500,000 followers is telling you to do this, a lot of businesses are doing it. And it takes away that like originality.
Yeah.
Whereas you work with a creative, a videographer, a photographer, a marketer who has this kind of experience, you're going to create a much better piece of content. And on that note, I feel like I need to get off my soapbox. Like I'm like
no, I'm
ranting
honestly
now.
no keep I could not agree more because I think that's a great point because I honestly think that's something you and I have said since 2018, like where where there's so many gurus out there who are like quantity over quality, and my word of the year is consistent. And obviously I want to be consistent with my content creation, but I'm going to tell you right now, you heard it here first, some weeks for me might just be one good reel. Like where again, starting off slowly but consistently.
Yeah.
Cuz I'm sorry, I'm not your content creator who's just going to be putting out nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Okay, my next prediction for 2025 is knowing your data. Knowing it so clearly, like the back of your hand, your marketing data, your analytics on social media, your income, your numbers. I think even knowing this for the clients you're marketing for is so important because how do you really know how to set goals if you don't know what those targets are? Like if you don't know, if your client's like, I want to increase my income or my sales from Instagram. Well, what are your current sales?
Yep.
Like, where do we go? Where's our starting point, and where do we go up from? Data and just being more like data driven in 2025 is honestly like a personal marketer goal that I have for myself. Is how can I go deeper in data and produce better results for clients, better results for us, for the podcast. And I think it's just as simple as like knowing your data, knowing all of those numbers. I think my favorite example for this is think of Shark Tank, like the best pitches, the people who come into the Shark Tank, they know their numbers when they're being drilled by the sharks and they get a deal. If you don't know your numbers, you don't get a deal. So I think about it in the sense of like, you have to know these numbers because they're so important. And again, if you're working with clients, you have to get those numbers from them, most likely. I think from my experience, a lot of clients don't know these numbers unless they are super data driven. Like unless this is how their brain works. Yeah. But knowing it and knowing what's your number one source, like if you're managing Instagram and Pinterest and TikTok, say for your own business, and you're feeling like, God, I'm so burnt out. I'm creating so much content. If you're thinking to yourself, I haven't gotten nearly as many social media client leads this year than I would have wanted, and you look at like your time reporting and you're like, why am I spending so much time on this channel that has led to 0 leads? Get rid of it. Like, let it go. If it's not bringing joy in your marketing or in your business, like let it go because your time is so much better spent elsewhere. So I think that's just really important for 2025.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. My next prediction, I haven't seen this one.
Okay.
And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And that is, so maybe it's not a prediction per se. I'm wanting it to be. I'm wanting it to be a prediction. I'm speaking into my crystal ball. Okay. And I want to see more brands create their own trending sounds. I want to see social media managers challenge themselves, and that's including us. I know my brain's starting to try and think of sounds that we can create for clients, but I think where that came from was Wicked, and just seeing how many trending sounds came from that one movie. Yeah. And I think we're all, I don't know about you, actually, again, same brain, same page, but but I'm burnt out on seeing the same sounds over and over again, and seeing, dare I say, but like social media managers using the same sound with the same text, where I'm like, that's for another podcast episode of copying, you know, like what is copying even anymore? Yeah. But
yeah, that's a good one. I think it stems from, I don't know why, maybe this just is a lot of conversations that I have. I feel like most people tell me they think they're not creative. And to me, that makes me kind of sad, because I think everyone's creative in their own way. Some people are more creative, like they're funny, they're inspirational, they're great speakers, they're creative with like graphics or videos or whatever. And so I think it's just really interesting when people aren't creative, because I guarantee if you're going around and asking, you know, people, and I know it's the joke, right? It's like the trend. It's like, oh, social media managers coming in to create content, and everyone's like, but I think, you know, lean into people who are working and are funny, or lean into your products, your services. Like, what do your customers or clients ask you? What are you saying every day on a sales call, or when a customer comes in? Like that, to me, make that an audio, like almost like kind of like social listening to create these original trends for your business. And I think that's a great like strategy.
And that's #managed.
Yeah. yes. Okay, I think my next one, it's my actual last one too on my list. Then we're gonna have to lean into Maddie for the rest of the predictions. But I think mine really complements this. Employee generated content. I think, again, there's so many businesses and clients that you're probably working with who have people on the team who can create really awesome content, right? They can be the model, they can be the stand-in, they could be the voice over the voiceover, they could be the person in the video. I think there's just so much room for employees creating their own content. It brings so much personality to a feed, and we recently did a content day with a client, and their in-store staff, we didn't even know this until we were there, but some of them have improv backgrounds, and they were hilarious. So we're like, okay, we're going to scrap a lot of ideas we brought, and we're going to we had them improv a little bit. We pulled out more funnier trends, because I don't know, you know, again, we're social media managers. I hear someone say something, I'm like, oh, there's a video we could do for that. Let me visually show them so they feel inspired. But yeah, lean into that talent. And also, I think a kind of a second part to this as well is, can you empower any employees to become their own creators? Like, I
love that you said that, because this is something that it's one of my goals for the boutique in the new year, because I just have a team of so many creative girls, and I want to empower them, because I'm like, to your point, they don't think they're creative, or they're like, I'm not an influencer. And I'm like, oh my goodness, yes you are, where they're younger than me. Again, they're Gen Z. And I'm like, you're inspiring me. Let me be your one person, you know. Right. And I think that whenever I say that, they're like, oh my goodness, really, Maddie? I'm like, yeah, like, you're so cool. Yeah. And then they're like, but Maddie, you're cool. I'm like, no, you're cool. Right. Like, you're cool. Yeah. But if you're a boutique, like, this is just an example for a boutique too, where the girls, our team who makes up the boutique, like, that truly is what makes the brand, you know? Yeah. Not to say, like, we hire based on age, look, whatever. Right. But, you know, it's a great team. It's a great, like, we all, like, they're a team of young women who I admire them so much. And, like, to me, I hope, like, I don't know if they ever listen to this really. So I'm just, like, tooting their own horn. But I'm just, like, I wish I would have had a group of team members like you when I was your age, you know? Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
Okay. So now we're leaning on me?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I'll let Maddie know. Okay. I'm just gonna put my, like, 2 cents in every time she says something.
Okay. I just have 4 more. So I just put the word series, and at this time, you know, the TikTok scene is it's just unknown right now.
Yeah.
But something that I'm surprised I haven't seen trickle into Instagram. Yes, some. Like, I've seen some creators do this. But I wish maybe more brands would do this. And that is creating a series, like an original series.
Yeah.
Of, like, part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it. It works. It works on TikTok. And I know that Instagram and TikTok are very different. But at the same time, I think there's some truth to a good series. And leaving people on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I like that.
Okay. My next one is community in the comments. I feel like I've been saying that for a few years now. But I think as social media managers, we really just need to, if, let's say for instance, I find it, how do I want to say this? Sometimes when I'm engaging with other social media managers, on their own content versus a brand, where it's harder for me, like the call to actions. How do I make that comment where it gets everybody else chatting in the comments?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. I think what's the company? Oh, it's leaving my head as I just thought of it, but I just saw a day in the life video of a social media marketer for a corporation, and I hope it comes to me in a second, but it was a really big company, and she was talking about just kind of like her day in the life managing this social media account. Anyway, it's not going to come to me, but regardless, she's creating content, she's approving content from her team, and then she's like, a big part of my day is dropping comments on
community engagement,
TikTok, on Instagram, and it's, I think it was like a food brand, but regardless, like, you think about all the brands that are leaving big comments on accounts on Instagram and TikTok, probably the biggest 2 platforms there. But it's just so fun to kind of see, like, it's all the social media managers. It's the managers, it's not the interns, who are leaving those comments on posts. But do that yourself. Do it as the social media manager. Do it as your client's small boutique or your client's small business. Like, become that commenter. Like, and I think my biggest piece of advice for that is have a voice.
Yes.
Think about the Wendy's of marketing, of old school Twitter days. Like, they have a voice, whether you're going to follow that or not. You probably won't, because most of us don't. But they have a voice. It's recognizable, and that's what you need.
You know what post that just recently happened last year that I was devouring the comments?
What was?
Selena Gomez's engagement post. Oh my gosh,
yes.
the brands, everybody was showing up for our girl. And I was just like, Taylor Swift, she won. She won.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be your flower girl.
Yes, that one was so good. Yeah.
And the Taco Bell, but that I just ate it up.
Yeah. Again, celebrity accounts, brand accounts, businesses, big businesses. They have huge reach. Yeah. Leave those comments.
Okay, and then my second to last one, I kind of hinted at this in our last episode, but the DMs and how the conversations and engagement are going to continue to grow in 2025.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to add a really small point to that, in the fact that DMs are so important, and I know right now we're so focused on like chatbot marketing with like mini chat, and I love it. I mean, we love mini chat over here too, but keep in mind that there is another person on the end of that.
Yeah.
Automated conversation. I think it's so important for different things, like getting quick information over, giving links, but you can also use it to like do polls in DMs, to do like yes or no's. I recently like left a comment on a post, and they sent me a message, and it was really cute. It was like, hey, did you mean to leave this comment, like, for this checklist guide, whatever it was for? Like, tap the button. And it was like, yes, on the button. And I was like, oh, that's cute.
That's cute.
And obviously I wanted it. I just left the comment. But it was kind of like a good reminder, and also a great way to just get me engaged, to keep, okay, I commented, but now I'm tapping the button. and then they're sending me the thing. And I don't know if it was automated, it could be, but I really think it was the social media manager on the account who came in and was like, hey, did you like get that guide? Like, they introduced themselves, and it was it didn't seem like it was a AI script or, you know, something from like ManyChat, but use those tools to like do what they're made for, but then get in there and have the conversation.
Yeah.
Because that's also so important.
Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, and then my very last prediction for 2025 is that shares is going to be the number one metric. I think it's been the number one metric for the last year or two, but
yeah, that's one thing that I feel like I think there's some accounts who are really good at creating shareable content. But that's one thing that even like for our own clients lately, we've been creating more and more shareable content. But yeah, I think that needs to be leaned into way more, because people will send your content to their friends. We all have them. We have our group chats on Instagram DMs, like, we're going to send this post here, we're going to send this to our friend who needs to buy this, or whatever, who needs this message. Yeah, create content that people will want to share.
Absolutely.
And look at your content and see what people have shared, see what they haven't. Like, I think that's a great starting point.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay.
All right. I think that's a
wrap on. Wow, we're in 2025.
Yeah, we're here. We made it. Whether we're ready or not, it's a new year, and yeah, I feel like it's going to be a great one. It's going to bring its highs and lows, its trials and tribulations, but yeah, I'm excited for what it brings. And
I truly think it's our year.
Mm-hmm.
I truly do.
Yeah, it's the year of #managed, if you are wondering. So we're excited because now we have like new marketing predictions for this year that we can kind of track and see, okay, are they working? Are they not? We'll do another catch up mid-year, end of this year, we'll catch up again and see if we were right. But yeah,
be sure to share this episode.
Yes, we will create a shareable post with our predictions that you guys can share. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. This episode was a cut to the chase, so we got right into it, and we hope you enjoyed this new format. If you did, let us know. But in the meantime, subscribe to the newsletter for our weekly reports and what's on our feeds, and we'll be back next week with another episode of #managed. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you made it this far, I think we've officially become internet besties. You can always call into the #hotline and say hello, leave a review, or ask your burning questions.
Make sure you follow, rate, and review the podcast wherever you're listening from. Subscribe to the Social Club newsletter for our weekly email, and shoot us a DM over at #managed on Instagram, letting us know what your biggest takeaway was from this episode.